Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
We head back 70 years for an episode of the signal-oiled program The Whistler. Howard McNear starring in an episode entitled Homecoming. And we thank you for tuning in on this Wednesday. You know what that means. Wednesday, Hump Day, 30th day of March, 89th day of the year, 276 days remaining until we get to 2023. Florida Territory, created in the U.S. on this date in 1822. Anesthesia, used for the first time on this date in 1842. A pencil with an attached eraser was patented on this date in 1858. Alaska purchased on this date in 1867, $7.2 million, about 2 cents an acre, by Secretary of State William Seward. The news media called Alaska Seward's Folly. That was before they found out there was a lot of oil up there, or rather, whether they would even, have any idea what to use the oil for. 1867, there were not much in the way of automobiles. In 1910, the Mississippi legislature founded the University of Southern Mississippi in 1910. The King and I premiered on Broadway on this date in 1951.
Oh, good morning, Your Majesty.
You think you teach King lesson, but this is one lesson you do not be paid for teaching. In future, you will stop instructing wives and children in silly English song, Home Sweet House, in order to remind me of breaking promises I never make, etc., etc., etc.
Yul Brynner and Gertrude Lawrence starred in The King and I on Broadway, opening on this date in 1951. Merv Griffith's game show Jeopardy! Made its debut on television on this date in 1964. Art Fleming hosted the original version, and President Ronald Reagan shot on this date in 1981 in the chest outside a Washington, D.C. hotel by John Hinckley, Jr.
Get him out! Get him out! Get him out! Get him back! He's in the car!
Shots rang out as President Reagan was leaving the hotel and about to enter his limousine. At least one person was hit and fell to the sidewalk with blood coming from his body. It was not the president. I don't know whether the president was hit. I do not believe he was. His car left rapidly under police escort. The shots were fired by someone in the crowd of people watching the president depart.
Now, as the events were breaking on that date in 1981, Secretary of State Al Haig spoke to the media at the White House.
As of now, I am in control here in the White House, pending return of the Vice President, and am in close touch with him. If something came up, I would check with him, of course.
Now, considering that Vice President Bush was not immediately available, Haig's statement reflected political reality, if not necessarily legal reality. So, just to let you know that Haig had a whole bunch of other things that basically got him booted from his position in the Reagan administration. In 1982, STS-3 mission completed the landing of Columbia Space Shuttle in New Mexico. In 2017, SpaceX conducted the world's first reflight of an orbital-class rocket. Number of people passing away on this date in history. Among those, the original Great Gildersleeve, Harold Perry, passing away of a heart attack on this date in 1985. Also, radio commentator Gabriel Heater, actor Jimmy Cagney, the husband of Lucille Ball, Gary Morton, also journalist Alistair Cook, singer Timmy Euro, stand-up comedian Mitch Hedberg, musician Bill Withers, Lean on Me, and G. Gordon Liddy, who passed away last year. This is the birth date of Dutch painter Vincent van Gogh, British musician and bandleader Ted Heath, singer Frankie Lane, Mule Train, and Randy Van Warmer, Just When I Needed You Most. All born on this date. The man in charge of the Hollywood Squares, Peter Marshall, 96 years old today, one of the last standing of the great game show hosts. Gomez from the Addams Family, John Aston, 92. Rolf Harris, Tie Me Kangaroo Down Sport, 92 years old. Warren Beatty is 85. Eric Clapton, Tears in Heaven, 77. From My Two Dads and Mad About You, Paul Reiser is 66. MC Hammer, 60. Tracy Chapman, 58. From 90210, Ian Zierling is 58. Presenter Piers Morgan is 57. TV host is what that means. From Baywatch, Donna D'Errico is 54. Celine Dion also 54 today. And Tim Hawkins, 54 years of age.
So a while back I put out a Facebook post asking people for ideas of Christian cuss words. I got over 10,000 responses from you freaks. Now, none of these is for me. You can't put it on me. Over 10,000 from you bozos. It took me 2 weeks to go through them, and I whittled it down to about 100 or so Christian alternative cuss words that you could use. I haven't memorized it yet, but I'd like to recite it for you right now. So Christians, just take these and cuss up a storm. Listen up. Here we go. Shucks, rats, gadzooks, shizzle, toot. Crapola. Which I guess is Spanish for crap. I don't know. Crapola. You almost stepped in crapola. Or it's the worst crayon color ever. Hey, who's got the crapola over here? Trying to draw a tree trunk. I need to stop taking my crapola.
Tim Hawkins, a funny guy. Tim Hawkins, 54 years old today. A couple of musicians to round everything out. Nora Jones, 43. Anna Nalick is 38. And country's Thomas Rhett is 32. Those just a few of the people who celebrate the 30th day of March as their birthday. And if this happens to be your birthday...
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Howard McNear, starring in an episode of The Whistler from 70 years ago today, March 30th, 1952. This episode entitled Homecoming. I'm Wyatt Cox. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday edition of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox here on your favorite radio station. You've heard me talking for over 3 years about MyPillow and the great products they have. There's some great specials right now when you go to mypillow.com/radio specials. You can find Giza Dream Sheets as low as $39.99. 6-piece MyPillow towel sets, deeply discounted, $39.95, and of course half-price My Slippers, which make my feet feel wonderful. All sorts of great products, including the MyPillow mattress topper, a MyPillow for the rest of your body. Go to mypillow.com/radio specials. That's mypillow.com/radio specials. Use my promo code USA, or you can call 1-800-951-8175. That's 1-800-951-8175. mypillow.com/radio specials, promo code USA. Thanks for tuning in on this Wednesday edition of Classic Radio Theater here on your favorite station. An episode of the Signal Oil program, The Whistler. We have mentioned before that The Whistler was primarily heard on the west coast of the United States, except for, I think it was 2 runs nationally. And they were basically summer runs or short runs on the whole CBS network. This was basically the West Coast CBS network that aired these programs. So this episode from 70 years ago, March 30th, 1952, Howard McNear in the lead role, the episode entitled Homecoming.
And now stay tuned for the mystery program that is unique among all mystery programs. Because even when you know who is guilty, you always receive a startling surprise at the final curtain. In the Signal Oil program, The Whistler. Signal, the famous Go Farther gasoline, invite you to sit back and enjoy another strange story by The Whistler.
I am the Whistler, and I know many things, for I walk by night. I know many strange tales hidden in the hearts of men and women who have stepped into the shadows. Yes, I know the nameless terrors of which they dare not speak.
And now for the Signal Oil Company, The Whistler's strange story, Homecoming.
A lone car speeds up a dark country road, barely ahead of the gathering storm. At the crest of the hill, the driver swings wildly in to stop before a rambling farmhouse. Quickly he's out, stumbling up the steps and across the creaking porch. Once inside, John Aaron scurries breathlessly to each door and window, slamming and locking them. But it's not the storm that holds terror for you, is it, John? No. You're sure that a far greater danger lies in the few brief hours ahead. It wasn't always like this, was it, John? The once proud farm and its family that fell gradually into decay, till only you and your younger stepbrother, Robert, remained. Robert was the stronger, wild, and unruly. But not you, John. No, you've always been known as a stern, righteous man. But now only one thing is important, isn't it? You're certain that Robert is coming home. Now, as you sit back to wait, your mind goes back to the day when it all began. You'd watched as the sheriff and his deputies came.
John! John, are you home?
He's not the one we want, Sheriff.
Well, good morning, Sheriff.
Good morning, John.
What's the meaning of this?
Well, I guess you wouldn't exactly call this a social visit.
Well, I gathered as much. What do you want?
There's no need for talk. Come on, we'll start with the house.
Okay, Johnny. Nobody sets foot in my house without the right.
No, wait. Now, hold on, boys. Hold on. Now, there's no need of that.
Then let him tell us where Robert is.
I don't account for my stepbrother. He's not here.
John, I don't want you to get the wrong idea. I've known you and Robert since you were knee-high to grasshoppers.
Just what are you trying to say, Sheriff?
Well, folks are getting mighty upset about Jed Peters. He hasn't been seen since he came here to your place 3 days ago.
He had plenty of money with him, too. Jed was going to buy this farm. He never did trust banks.
I wasn't planning to sell. It was Robert's idea.
Well, Jed's horse showed up at home without him. That's all we know.
Well, I know nothing of Jed Peters. Now, why did you come here, Sheriff?
Well, I just thought you might help, John. You don't mind if we sort of look around?
For Jed Peters? On my farm?
No. There's no offense to you. It's a job to be done. Of course, we've got a warrant.
Oh, I see. You didn't need one. I'm not one to stand in the way of the law.
Oh, no, of course you are, John. After all, you're the last one we'd suspect of anything.
So you'd followed the sheriff and the others, hadn't you, John? Seemingly bewildered as they searched the house, the loft, the outbuildings. You'd kept your silence. Until finally, down the hill, buried in a shallow grave in a grove of willows, they had found the shattered body of Jed Peters. You appeared quite shocked, didn't you, John? Hardly knew what to say.
Don't surprise us none, Sheriff. We knew what we'd find.
All right, boys. Now leave John Aaron and me alone.
Suit yourself, but if you don't get it out of him, we will. You're right.
Sheriff, they don't think I had anything to do with it?
You know better than that, John. Nobody's accusing you.
Well, I just can't understand it.
Now, I know how you feel. But if there's anything you can tell me now, about Robert.
Oh, hold on, Sheriff. Not Robert.
Where is he, John?
Well, I don't know. He just disappeared 3 days ago. Left without saying a word.
Same day Jed and his money disappeared?
Oh, Sheriff. Robert wouldn't steal or kill.
Well, plenty of folks saw Robert and Jed quarrel in the village. Robert made plenty of threats.
Robert never could hold his tongue. But you can't be sure.
No. But it looks like Robert's in trouble. A heap of trouble.
Yes, John, you carried it off very well, didn't you? For only you know the real truth, that you killed Jed Peters. Killed him in desperation for his money. Still hidden safely inside the house, where you haven't dared touch it since. It was so fortunate, Robert's going away when he did. It seemed an admission of his guilt. And after they found him in the city, you had plenty of time to lay your plans. You made a point to be at the sheriff's office when he brought Robert back.
All right, in here, Robert.
John.
Hello, Robert.
Is it all you've got to say? Supposing we set this thing straight.
What can I say now?
Just tell him our mistake. That's all you have to do.
Robert denies everything, John. Kind of suspected he would.
Well, why shouldn't I deny it? I don't know what anybody's talking about.
Then tell us, Robert, why you went away so quickly without letting anybody know.
John can tell you. He knew I was going. I went off to get a decent job.
Uh-huh. Right at the time Jed was killed, after you threatened him.
I threatened Jed? Sure I did. The old miser had John and me where he wanted us. He knew we needed the money.
Yes, but we didn't need it that bad, Robert.
Oh, stop it, John. You knew I was going. You were licked even if you wouldn't admit it. I was sick and tired of living with nothing but failure and decay. I couldn't face it anymore, that's all.
All right, you told me that before.
Because it's true. Why don't you tell him, John? Why don't you tell him the truth?
I can't defend murder, Robert. Even though we grew up together.
Why, you tell him the truth before I beat it out of you. Robert, stop. Tell him now.
Get back there, Robert. Get back there. You won't get a chance to do that again. John, you all right, John?
Well, what happens to me doesn't matter. Don't hold this against Robert, Sheriff. He already has enough to answer for.
You were so forgiving, weren't you, John? Through the days that followed, you'd walk with head bowed, bearing alone the humiliation. And all through the trial, you felt the sympathetic eyes of everyone on you. Robert sat tight-lipped, not once taking his cold eyes off you as the evidence piled up against him. Then, when you were called to the stand...
Mr. Aaron, I know this is difficult for you, but try and remember when you first realized that Robert was gone.
Well, I've sworn to tell the truth. There's nothing else I can do now.
You mean there's something more?
Yes, much more. I'm ready now to tell everything.
Please go on.
Well, I'd been away all that day. When I drove in the gate that evening, I heard a shot.
From where?
From back of the house. I ran around the house fast I could and saw Robert standing there with a shotgun in his hands. Jed Peters was on the ground. Dead.
Mr. Aaron, in spite of the fact that you know you'll be held to account for protecting a murderer, you still swear that this is true.
I do. I felt I had to protect him and the family name.
What did you do then?
I helped him bury Jed. And then I begged Robert to go away as far as he could.
Did he tell you about the money?
I don't know about any money. I'd tell if I did. I've lied enough. I feel I was partly to blame. If only I'd been kinder to Robert in our trouble. A little more understanding.
Robert Aaron, did you or did you not shoot and kill Jed Peters?
I did not. But you've heard what my righteous stepbrother said. You believe him. But there's nothing more for me to say.
I'm asking you now. You realize this is your last chance?
I've got nothing more to say.
And so the trial was quickly over. And after that, the inevitable verdict. Robert was found guilty, sentenced to from 10 years to life. All as you planned it, John. And as the sheriff led Robert from the courtroom.
Come along, Robert.
Without telling my grieving stepbrother goodbye, Sheriff?
Well, all right if he wants it. Only for a minute, though.
Well, John?
Goodbye, Robert. It's too bad it had to be this way.
Don't worry yourself too much. I'll come back someday, John. And when I do, you can count on one thing. There'll be another trial for murder.
I double-checked, and I was basically right. The Whistler ran nationally in one summer session, July to September of 1946, sponsored by Campbell's Soup, and from March 1947 to September 1948, so I guess that's a year and a half, sponsored by Household Finance. The Whistler from March 30th, 1952, on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. We'll have the news items from the newspapers from 70 years ago today, and the conclusion of The Whistler. But first, these important messages. You know how every house has peculiar odors in it, whether it's cigarette smoke or whether it's fish you fried in the kitchen or just about anything? You can clean everything in the house, but you can't clean the air unless you get an Eden Pure Thunderstorm air purifier. Now, these are really neat things. They plug into the wall and stay there. The entire unit plugs into the wall. You don't have to take up any counter space, no filters to replace, and they work fast, and they're quiet. There's one right next to me here in the studio. Yeah, they've already sold over 200,000 of them, and you can get the best deal of all. You can save $200 on an Eden Pure Thunderstorm 3-pack, 3 units, one for every stinky room in the house, and save a lot of money. Go to EdenPureDeals.com, put in my promo code CLASSIC3, and you'll save $200. EdenPureDeals.com, CLASSIC3 is the promo code. Shipping is free. And you're listening to Classic Radio Theater here on your favorite station, an episode of The Whistler. Homecoming, starring Howard McNear, as it was broadcast Sunday, March 30th, 1952, in the newspapers of that Sunday, 70 years ago. These were some of the headlines. The nation in shock last night as President Truman announced he would not be a candidate for re-election. He electrified the annual Jefferson-Jackson Day dinner at the National Guard Armory in Washington by declaring, "I shall not be a candidate for re-election." A chorus of no's broke out among the 5,000 Democrat politicians as the historic pronouncement was made. It came as an off-the-cuff interpolation in his prepared address, which had contained no intimation of his intentions, the chief executive saying, "I do not believe it is my duty to spend another term in the White House." A second before that, he had declared, "I have served my country long, and I believe efficiently and honestly." Although the announcement took most of the diners by surprise, several cabinet members at the speaker's table appeared unastonished. One of the most intensive political campaigns in history came to a climax last night with major appeals from all 3 principal Republican candidates battling for votes in the Wisconsin primary. The election is next Tuesday. Governor Earl Warren, Senator Robert A. Taft, and ex-Governor Harold E. Stassen of Minnesota, the main GOP contenders for 30 delegates to the July nominating convention. The threat of a steel strike on April 8th still hung over the nation, but some officials were hopeful it would be averted. Cheap hope for avoiding it rested on producer union talks starting in New York Monday. These talks led Secretary of Labor Tobin to predict Saturday night that no strike will take place, and steel production will continue uninterrupted until mid-1953, at least. General Eisenhower may make a flying farewell tour in the next 6 weeks to the capitals of the U.S.'s European allies. Officers at the Supreme Headquarters Allied Powers in Europe Saturday said it's a possibility. Guessing is that Eisenhower, a candidate for the Republican presidential nomination, will resign his command sometime in late May and return to the United States. Angry protests against Italy's newly stiffened demands for return of Olive Free Trieste were raised Saturday night on the floor of Yugoslavia's parliament and in mass street demonstrations. Thumping the speaker's desk, Representative Velor Jubic told his fellow legislators that the Italian campaign has been promoted by fascist bands, and I would like to meet them face to face with a gun in my hand. And from Italy, Rodolfo Donna, 25, suffering from arthritis and insomnia, took an overdose of sleeping pills Friday night. Then he turned on the gas. Then he tried to shoot himself in the temple, but he was so sleepy from the sleeping pills that he missed. Well, the noise of the shot roused relatives who rushed him to hospital, and he's recovering. Those some of the day's top news stories as reported in the newspapers of Sunday, March 30th, 1952, on your radio, The Whistler, Homecoming, starring Howard McNear, which continues now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
It's hard to realize that it all happened only 3 years ago, isn't it, John? Robert convicted of murder. Your own testimony had sealed the verdict. And only Robert himself suspicioned that it was actually you who had killed Jed Peters. And after 3 years, you're still unable to forget that last day in the courtroom. Robert's threat of vengeance, and your conversation later with the sheriff.
You'll be wanting me now, Sheriff.
Wanting you, John?
Well, I'm a criminal. As much as Robert, I shielded him, knowing his guilt.
Well, I kind of think it's Robert you'd better be concerned about.
Every man has a cross. Well, Robert's mine.
Yes, I know how you feel. It seems like just yesterday I used to visit your old place when we were kids. Had a lot of fun together as boys.
We'd best forget it.
But, John, what I'm trying to say is...
Yes, Sheriff?
I don't like the way Robert looked at you when you testified against him. There was hate in his eyes, John. Downright hate.
Oh, he'll have plenty of time to think things over. And realize that what I did was right and honorable.
Well, I hope so. But Robert was never one to forget a grudge. You're no match for him, John.
Well, I'll be going now.
Well, is there anything I can do?
No. I just want to be left alone from now on.
There had been charges brought against you, but quickly dropped. And through the past 3 years, you had withdrawn more and more, living with your guilt, not once visiting Robert at the penitentiary, only a few hours away. Time and again you told yourself that you were perfectly safe, hadn't you, John? Until word came only an hour ago that Robert had escaped in a prison break this morning. Yes, Robert is free to make good his threat. And now there's nothing to do but wait in your dark house, listen to the rising storm and the bump of the oak limb on the roof. You start at the jangle of the phone that echoes through the high rooms. You tell yourself not to answer. It could be Robert making sure you're home. And you breathe with relief when it stops. Again, you check each door and window. Then you sit in a chair facing the door, trying to stem the flood of memories and voices that return like a nightmare.
Why don't you tell him, John? Why don't you tell him the truth?
There was hate in his eyes, John. Downright hate. You're no match for him.
I'll come back, John. And when I do, you can count on one thing. There'll be another trial for murder.
Yes, John. You're sure these past 3 years have only added to his hatred. Robert's determination to come back, regardless of the consequences. To kill or be killed. And now that he's escaped in a prison break, you decide to wait for him. Kill him as you killed Jed Peters, all in self-defense. End your fear and worry once and for all. But as time goes on, you begin to wonder, don't you, John? You wonder if Robert might not be nearby. You go to the window. Throw it open. Close the shutters. Slam and lock the window. Then you go back to your chair. Resume the endless waiting. You wonder whether your fears were groundless and feel a surge of hope that Robert may have decided to postpone his vengeance. Go far away to start a new life somewhere else. Again the phone. This time, it doesn't stop.
Hello?
Hello.
Who is it?
That you, John? Can't hear you very well. Speak up.
Oh, who's calling?
It's Charlie Briscoe up the road. Not surprised you don't recognize me. Been a long time since we've seen you.
Oh, yes, Charlie, of course. How are you?
Oh, tolerable. Quite a storm we're having, isn't it?
Well, they come and go. What do you want?
Oh, nothing special. Just a neighborly call. Sort of wondered how you were making out.
I'm making out, Charlie.
I was just saying to Sarah last week, we ought to have you over. It's not good for a man to be alone all the time like you are. I guess you are alone.
Well, of course I'm alone. Any reason for you to think different?
Well, no, not exactly. Of course, I guess you heard about the prison break, Robert's escape.
Oh, everybody's heard. There's nothing I can do about it.
Oh, nobody's blaming you. Guess the last place an escaped convict would go to is in his own house.
Well, Robert's just a stepbrother. I'm not one to harbor a criminal.
Of course you're not, John. Besides, it might be just a rumor. Robert's been heading this way, though.
Who saw him?
I don't know. You know how talk gets around. It could be a mistake.
Is that why you called, Charlie?
No, John. I never was one to pry, you know. Of course, there's the money that was never found. He'll likely head for that wherever it is. Not back to your place.
Goodbye, Charlie.
From 70 years ago, March 30th, 1952, The Whistler on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Here's some great news. If you missed the deadline to sign up for health insurance, or if, like a lot of people, you just have a plan you're not happy with, you still have a choice. It's called MediShare. It's a Christian healthcare sharing program. There are more than 400,000 members now, and they love it. In fact, MediShare has double the customer satisfaction rate compared to that of health insurance. And MediShare really is the gold standard when it comes to healthcare sharing. It's been around more than 25 years. Members have shared more than $4 billion of each other's medical bills. Plus, MediShare is for you. It has saved its members billions by advocating on their behalf. Best of all, the typical savings for a family is around $6,000 a year. So if you think you're stuck with a high-cost health plan that doesn't have much to offer, think again. MediShare has a 98% customer satisfaction rating, and you are invited to be part of it. Call now. 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE. 833-34-BIBLE.
On Thursday's Classic Radio Theater, we go back 68 years to March 31st, 1954. Willard Waterman as the great Gildersleeve. Gildersleeve is dating two different girls, Exotic Marie and his old standby Grace Tuttle. And don't you know that's going to cause some issues. That'll be on Thursday's Classic Radio Theater, The Great Gildersleeve. But right now, the conclusion of The Whistler from 70 years ago, March 30th, 1952.
Well, John, the rumor that Robert has been seen doesn't surprise you, does it? You're certain he's on his way to see you, to try and kill you. But you'll be more than ready for him, won't you, John? You outwitted him 3 years ago. You're sure you can do it again. Rifle in hand, you sit facing the big front door. Waiting. The grandfather clock in the hallway strikes off another hour. And still you wait. And then... A voice, John. Or was it? You wonder if it was just the wind. You strain to hear. There's nothing more. And then... you start as you hear the shutters rattling in the wind. You remember there's a back door, too, and you decide to cover that entrance. Set a trap for Robert. You walk to the kitchen, take your other rifle from its place on the wall. Anchor it securely to a chair so that it points directly toward the back door. You tie a string to the doorknob, the other end to the rifle trigger. Loop the string over the back of the chair so that when Robert opens the back door, the rifle will be discharged. You leave the kitchen and return to the front of the house, where once again you sit, rifle in hand, watching that front door. But as the minutes drag by, a feeling of fear begins to overcome you. You wish you hadn't hung up on Charlie Briscoe when you did, that you'd suggested he drive over, help out in case Robert arrives and attempts to carry out his threat to kill you. You decide to phone him again.
Number, please.
Operator, I want you to get me Charlie Briscoe, 136, quick as you can.
136. I'll ring him.
Oh, operator, hurry, will you?
I'm ringing.
Well, keep it up. I've got to get to him.
Must not be home. There's no answer.
Oh, I'm sure he's home. I just talked to him. Ring him again. Keep on.
Mr. Briscoe doesn't hear so well, you know. This is Mr. Aaron, isn't it?
Yes, John Aaron. Maybe you're ringing the wrong number.
No. This is right. Is there something wrong, Mr. Aaron?
Get him, operator. Just get him.
I'm doing the best I can.
Hello.
Hello! The phone's dead. You're certain this is Robert's way to cut the lines and make his return safe and sure.
Oh, what's that?
You try to call out, but your voice strangles in your throat. The sound of the branches of the oak tree just outside the house brings another memory, doesn't it, John? How as boys, you and Robert had often scaled a tree, climbed across the roof to an unsealed hatch leading into the attic. You rush up the winding stairs. Open the door to the now empty attic. You're just in time, aren't you? You hear the sound of someone moving on the roof. The steps come closer. The hatch is drawn back. A head appears. Then the shoulders. You aim quickly.
It's too bad, Robert. You should have known if I killed once, I can kill again.
You rush back downstairs, open the front door, and hurry to the figure huddled on the ground, determined to end the threat of Robert for all time.
I'm sorry, Robert. Sorry it has to be this way.
No, John. I'm not Robert.
What you... Sheriff! It's you!
Yes, I didn't see any light.
But
I thought something was wrong. I remembered about the roof when we were kids.
I didn't know, Sheriff. I swear I didn't. I thought you were Robert come back to kill me, and now I...
No. It's all right. Your aim wasn't too good. Just my shoulder. Oh, my God.
Well, here, I'll help you here. I'll get you to your car. I'll find help. Easy now. The phone's gone out here, but I'll get you over to Charlie Briscoe's place. We'll phone Doc Wilson from there. He'll take care of you.
Yes, thanks, John.
I shouldn't have fired so quick, but Robert isn't one to wait. It was him or me, Sheriff.
I know, John. I know. Don't worry about it. I've got a hunch they'll get Robert before he gets here.
It's going all right, isn't it, John? You put the sheriff in your car, rush him to Charlie Briscoe's farm, where Briscoe tells you he's just heard on the radio that Robert, hiding in a wooded section of hills near your farm, is completely surrounded, his capture a matter of minutes. You breathe a sigh of relief, wait only long enough to make sure the doctor is on his way to take care of the sheriff, and then quickly excuse yourself. You decide the best thing for you to do is take what's left of the money you took when you killed Jed Peters 3 years ago. Leave town. Go to some distant place where Robert can never find you. You drive home quickly, but this time you play it safe, just in case Robert wasn't captured. You park down the road, run through the darkness toward the house.
John?
Who is... Robert! No.
Yes.
Yes, but the radio is...
I gave him the slip, John. I had to see you.
I stumbled. I twisted my ankle. Don't kill me, Robert, while I'm helpless this way.
I'm not going to kill you at all.
Well, you
John.
swore you would.
I know, but I've changed my mind. I've had time to think. All I want is for you to tell them the truth. That you committed the crime I've spent 3 years in prison for.
No. No one will ever know that I killed Jed and took the money. But you listen to me, Robert. The money's hidden under the stairs. You can have it all. Go someplace where they'll never find you.
No, John. But I'll get you into the house. We'll talk a little more.
Yeah, but I don't think I can walk.
I think I can still carry you. Here, come on. Here.
No, Robert. No. Not that door!
Don't worry, John. Don't worry. All I'm going to do is take...
All right, boys, come on. Stay where you are, Robert.
I'm not going anywhere. But I'm afraid my stepbrother is dead.
Hold the light on him. Who fired the gun?
Well, I guess I did, by accident. I opened the door, and it seems my stepbrother had the rifle set to kill me. But I was carrying him, and the shot got him instead.
That's what happened, all right. You can see the string tied to the rifle.
Don't touch it. We figured you'd come here, Robert. That's why we came here. Glad we did. We found out a lot.
You heard what John said?
Everything. His whole confession. Everybody had you wrong, Robert. I guess this time your brother's trap got the right man.
Let that whistle be your signal for the signal oil program, The Whistler, each Sunday night at this same time. Featured in tonight's story were Bill Foreman as the Whistler, Howard McNair, Truda Marston, Bill Boucher, Pat McGeehan, Herbert Litton, and Britt Wood.
And there you have it, March 31st, 1952, The Whistler on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Want to thank Mark and our friends at KSCY in Seymour, Texas, and also John Hendricks at KGEZ in Kalispell, Montana, a couple of our newest radio stations. And we thank all of you for joining us here each and every day we roll around here on your favorite station. Please thank this station and support their advertisers. It is their kindness and courtesy that allows us to be here each and every time we roll around, and it is, of course, you reminding the station that you're out there listening that keeps us on the air right here on your favorite radio station. And may I also suggest that if perchance you get busy, you miss a day on this station, you don't have to miss a show. You can always find our shows through iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker, TuneIn, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or Amazon by searching for Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. That's Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. And you can also find our podcasts at our classicradio.stream webpage. There you can stream the shows on demand. You can learn more about classic radio collecting, and you can contact me there at classicradio.stream. Thanks for listening. Have a great Wednesday. Tell all your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the radio dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.